Hello, hi. Hi, hello. Hi, Robyn. Hi, hello. Hi. This is FSP Live, Fridays at 4 Eastern time now through March. I'm the Amelia one. My pronouns are she, they. And my goal is to answer questions that we get about FSP Live or about, FSP zombie apocalypse and maybe give updates about past episodes. And in the chat, in case anybody is here in real life, we have Robyn with a Y. Hi, Robyn. How you doing? Today's gonna be short because I got COVID again. But so yeah, oh yeah, it's time number 5, and I have already taken nausea medication that's about to kick in and make me very loopy. So, but I did want to answer a question that we got um, about our masking episode because I thought it was a really important thing to talk about. Somebody just wanted like an update on like, so you're working on unmasking. Like, how are you actually doing that? What is the progress like? Um, and I remember thinking when I was first diagnosed with autism and told like masking is correlated with a very high amount of negative health outcomes. I then, of course, went to like look at the research, and there is indeed a ton of research demonstrating that masking or camouflaging is correlated with lots of negative health outcomes. But in 2021, I couldn't find any resources that were like, here's how to unmask, because we know this is a problem. We need to teach autistic people or anybody else who's in this category of people who really mask a lot. And we have to teach them how to unmask because it is, um, for the most part, involuntary. It happens unconsciously, reflexively, to that we learned from very very early in life, just to fit in, just to get by, just to get through. So how do we unlearn something that's so habitual? And there were no resources really about that specifically at the time. So when we got this question, I was like, let me look again because the research is changing and happening really fast. So it turns out there are new resources that are available. So if you're an autistic person or you love an autistic person who, hi, my dogs are outside. Um, Maybe you heard them barking. Um, if you are an autistic person or love an autistic person who wants to try to benefit from the possibility of unmasking a little bit, there is. I will put links in the chat. Here is uh, the Unmasking Workbook for Autistic Adults by Jessica Pinot or Pinot or maybe Beno. I don't know. Um, it seems to be very sort of like basics for beginners of like just like reflecting on how you feel and looking back at experiences that you've had in the past and kind of unpack that sort of little. It's very wordy and very chatty. Um, uh, with I haven't looked at every exercise in it because again, I've had COVID. I'm on day 6 of symptoms, so I'm actually feeling better. But anyway, I have not looked at the whole thing. It's got a lot of words in it, and the exercise is very like verbal. And because I have brain fog from long COVID, me and reading dense passages of text are not the best. Um, there's a book called Unmasking Autism by Devin Price. This was a very big deal. It is not actually about unmasking. It's using unmasking as a figurative term for like coming to learn more about what autism is and who autistic people are. Um, but he actually has a new book coming out called Unmasking for Life: The Autistic Person's Guide to Connecting, Loving, and Living Authentically. And that's coming out next month, March 25th. So it's a wild time to be alive. Um, a very odd time to be alive and an adult with autism, diagnosed as an adult because, I mean, hopefully, as people learn more to recognize these differences in a greater variety of people younger and younger, no one will be growing up like our generation does. No one will be growing up without these resources, without having this recognition and being given, you know, hey, here are some options to help you navigate the world more smoothly so you don't have to default to masking, which might end up with negative health outcomes for you. But in the meantime, our odd generation of kids who grew up before the diagnosis was mainstream and are being diagnosed as adults, and now need to, like, learn as adults how to do this stuff that, happily younger kids who are getting diagnosed are learning from their families and their caregivers. Here's the link to Unmasking for Life that is coming out. Um, I know that, Unmasking Autism was a very popular book. People liked it. So if Devin Price's work, on autism is one of you're like, "Oh, yeah," then new book coming out just specifically about unmasking. I also bought a book about unmasking that I like a lot. It's very practical. Let me see if I can get the link. I forgot to get it before I came out to the barn. Um, Hold on. So sorry for the delay. Play Books. I know I bought it on Google Play Books. Play Books, anywhere you are. And then no, I don't want the app. No. Okay. Books. So sorry. I know this is not compelling screen time, but I do wanna the book that I ordered. My library, here it is. Okay, great. Taking Off the Mask by, Hannah Louise Belcher. And here is a link. Copy link address. Here we go. Well, that's the author, but still, you'll get there from there. I like this book. It is, not written in a dense way. Like, I could actually read some of it. Um, a lot of it is the, like, setting up context of, like, why we mask and what camouflaging is. Um, and then, like, in chapter 5, it gets to, like, here's specific things you can do to start to unmask, and, one of the things I really liked, the first like exercise is remembering the stuff that's fun. Yes, thank you very much, Robyn, for the links and stuff. Remembering stuff that's fun that you stopped doing because you were ashamed or because people told you that you're too old for that. Um, and that's definitely a thing I've already done. Like, for example, I listen to audiobooks to fall asleep because I'm a toddler and I want to be read a story. When I go to sleep, and I preferably, I want it to be the same story that I've heard 150 times before. That just is good for my nervous system, and just because it's what toddlers like doesn't mean that an adult can't also find it soothing, so that's what I do, even though, my husband would say, "I don't know how you can listen to anything when you fall asleep." Well, it turns out, like, we're just different, and people just do what they gotta do that's different, even if it seems like it violates this false belief that we have that psychological development is a continuum from childish dependence to adult autonomy, as though that's the path toward growth and maturity, and that's a lie. It is not about becoming autonomous and independent and fully, able to exist on your own. You're a human, you have to exist in a community, um, even autistic people. The idea that you still do things that are perceived as childlike or, too young for your age, or you obsess a little bit too much about a thing, like, kind of letting go and shedding the social perception of what your thing is and letting it be, you know, what you do anyway, just embracing it regardless. Um, Another thing that I haven't seen in any of these workbooks so far is I have asked my husband, um, to help me out with the considering anytime either of us notices me doing something that, might be odd, asking, "What if what Amelia's doing is normal? What if that's normal?" Um, so if I'm just, like, making random noises while I cook or chop or just whatever, what if making random noises is just normal, right? Um, a very normal feature of, autistic characteristics, well, like, a very typical characteristic is echolalia. the repeating just random words back, not full of meaning or not just the word just comes popping out. I fully do that. Um, I mask it totally. Um, if you'll never catch me repeating a word in public unless I am very tired and exhausted and drained and unable to maintain anything of a mask. But boy, when I'm just at home, like words just come out of my mouth. I'll be listening to an audiobook and I'll just say like potatoes because they said potatoes and I just say potatoes, like not for any reason. I didn't choose to say it. It just reflexively comes out of my mouth. So when stuff like that happens, and my husband thinks that maybe I'm saying a word to begin a conversation, potatoes. No, I'm not talking. I'm just what if that's normal? Is our new and the new thing that we're doing of trying to be like, what if the stuff Amelia does is just normal and trying to kind of unpack when I do weird stuff, maybe not instantly reflexively shutting it down, but sort of going, yeah, that's how that happens. So that's what I'm doing about unmasking. I'm gonna put some more links in the chat for you, Robyn. Thank you. Because I did look up to see like more of the state of research about autistic camouflaging. And there is some interesting and sort of more radical sort of research going on about like how we frame autism and camouflaging. Um, Here's an article about a proposal to rename camouflaging or masking adaptive morphing, um, because it adaptive morphing infers, they say, a response rather than deceit. Because when you say masking or camouflaging, it feels like an intentional act to cover up, something. It feels like a lie or a deception. But adaptive morphing is a biological, not chosen response. Here is me pasting that in the chat. There you go. How about that? Did it go? Oh, it's too long. Da, 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 da. But biological. Okay, there's a short version of it. And I thought I'm really glad that this is going on in the research community, that's what people are talking about. Not just taking for granted that, yes, masking, stigma, bad health, and so let's address the masking, but really looking at the context of how and why people mask, and I think that's amazing. Here's another one of those, um, an article of masking can produce internalized stigma, self stigma, and a sense of having betrayed the autistic community, a reduced ability to maintain appropriate boundaries, which creates further vulnerability and self-perpetuating cycle of trauma, begetting trauma. And that's just a much more interesting perspective than I expected to find of people doing research on autistic masking. It's way more interesting and than I anticipated. Okay, and I think there's one more that I like. Yes. Uh, uh, Another one that says, and a third alternative radical interpretation of neurodiversity was put forth by autistic co-researchers in this study. It's an emancipatory view, arguing that neurotypical insistence on the inevitable functionality of camouflaging. It's through this insistence that difficulties with camouflaging are perceived as a deficit rather than difference. Um, Moreover, camouflaging in this perspective becomes manipulative management in response to perceived deficiencies in the autistic person. Um, and This is saying like, no, masking is not like a broken response. It's not inevitable. Masking is not inevitable. Masking is a result of social consequences. Anyway, I thought these were really interesting, and so that's what I am aware of is going on in terms of the cutting edge of people trying to come to understand masking and wellness and how to minimize the impact of masking, of camouflaging on, individual well-being. So that's answering that question. Um, the only other thing I want to accomplish today is to give an update on the low by no by episode, which was the last one that came out, whether we recorded maybe 2 weeks ago. And of course, before that, we had recorded the decluttering episode. So since those 2 episodes aired, I have decluttered my closet of over 50 things. And then since our low buy, no buy, I discovered that I don't have enough clothes anymore because I I decluttered. Pardon me. I have COVID. Anyway, I decluttered and I don't have enough clothes because when I got rid of the clothes I can't wear, like really got rid of the clothes I can't wear, I literally don't have enough clothes. So I have in my low buy, no buy, not buying any clothes year, I have since spent $700 replacing 50 items with 20 items. So I have reduced my wardrobe, but like the whole like I'm not gonna buy clothes, like that was a completely unrealistic goal for me because I didn't have enough clothes to begin with. I was not yet done replacing all my clothes. I was deluded and wrong. So we're gonna have to like restart boundaries and like figuring out like what my actual new rules are. But there we are. Okay, great. This is what I want to accomplish today. I wanted to go live even though I'm sick because I said that I would, and just now this is official. Um, what's happening through March is that um, have I have some I have some depression that's not super tractable. It's not tractable, and March is always the worst month for me with depression. So one of the reasons I want to do this is to give me a thing to do to exist in the world that might be helpful during the month of March. And so starting now is just getting rolling and in, the flow of it. Fridays at 4 Eastern. That's when I'll be doing this thing. It'll ordinarily probably be longer than this, and I'll answer more than one question. But for today, this has got to be it because I can feel the anti-nausea kicking in, and I'm so like soothed. But thank goodness my stomach feels much better. But I'm gonna start to lose track of my sentences even more than I already am. So yeah, thanks, Robin. Yeah, if you have questions, send them to found a survival project 2020 at gmail.com. Um, and that's it for this week. So hopefully um, somebody will watch and enjoy this, and if not, then that's also okay. I'll see you next week. Bye. Bye, 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 bye.